The impact equation. Are you making things happen or just making noise? Today I'm reviewing this book by Brogan and Julien Smith. Even though this book has been making an impact in how I think and work for several weeks now, I've hesitated doing a review on it for one reason. Would my review actually make an impact or just add to that deafening noise which is causing the world to burn through earplugs like never before? Well, the book has simply made too much of an impression on me for me to just remain silent any longer. So here goes. Now, since this book is all about impact, I'm not going to take time to talk about, what the authors have written before, as discussion worthy as that may be. I'm not even going to outline what the whole impact equation is all about by outlining its 4 parts, the parts of goals, ideas, platforms, and network. I'll leave that up to other reviewers. I'm going to dive into the top 2 nuggets that have had the most impact on me personally. The very first line of the first page of the first chapter introduced me to a concept that I've literally thought about every day since reading it. The authors quoted Brett Rogers, who said, "There are 2 types of people in this world. You're either a head of lettuce or an apple tree." Okay, so this sentence didn't stop me in my tracks at first. It was the concept behind that sentence that ended up making an impact. They went on to explain how you could plant some lettuce seeds, add a bit of water, and then a few months later could likely enjoy a nice salad. But good luck trying to save it for very long or use it for much more than a salad or some garnish on a burger. An apple tree, on the other hand, takes about 6 years to grow from a seed into an apple-producing tree. It was at this point I really began looking at my own life, my approach to business, and whether or not it looked more like a head of lettuce or an apple tree. Important shifts in thought began to clunk into place in my mind. They went on to talk about how during the 6 years it takes for the tree to grow, a lot of work, pruning, and care is needed to help it thrive. And even then, there's no guarantee it will even make it to maturity. But once the tree matures and starts producing, it could produce apples for well over 100 years. And not only is it likely to produce apples every year, but you can do a heck of a lot more with apples than you can a leaf of lettuce. I'm thinking cider, juice, applesauce, pie even. Now, when I get frustrated that things aren't happening as fast as I'd like, I literally find myself saying out loud, "I'm an apple tree. I'm an apple tree." Yeah. Okay. So I've had a little explaining to do to my wife about that, but it does continue to make a difference in how I think about my work and life as a whole. The other lesson that I'm going to share that it made an impact for me that stood out is somewhat related to the first. It's in the 3rd section of the book about your platform, where it discusses reach, more specifically about how to rate your success, your attempts to extend your reach. Chris and Julien explained how even though it's relatively easy to measure your reach by tracking the number of subscribers on your blog, how many Twitter followers you have, or how many Facebook fans you've racked up, it can also be tempting to try and compare your stats with someone else's. But comparing your numbers to the big boys can be pretty discouraging. Their explanation about how long it can take for certain channels to develop a large following really changed the way I was looking at things. Not only did it make sense that a blog that had been around for 10 years would have more followers than a blog that had been around for a few months, but it also made sense that reach doesn't follow a linear curve either. It accelerates over time. I've found it very comforting to learn that it took both authors about 8 years for each of them to get their first 100 consistent readers on their blogs. I mean, here I was giving myself a hard time for not generating that many subscribers with my blog before I'd even told anyone about it or posted my first post. This book review I'm doing right now is going to be the first post on my blog. So maybe 8 years from now, I'll have 100 readers too. But thanks to the impact equation, I'm just going to keep telling myself I'm an apple tree and to keep my head up, eyes looking 8 years ahead. And the interesting thing is, my short review here, it's only covered a mere 2 nuggets of info. Each one of these has helped me think about my life and business in very meaningful ways. There are 257 pages in this book that are jam-packed with impact. Buy the book. Read it. Dog-ear the crap out of it. But be prepared to get perpetually punched in the face with value in a, really good sort of way, of course.